Is there a general rule on how much money they should have in the bank compared to what their cash outlay is on a monthly basis?
Yeah, you like to have 18 months of cash, just to make sure that because no matter what your projections are, and I've done this myself and been wrong, they're always wrong. And they're typically off by as much as 50%.
Wow.
But you want a founding team that's really swinging for the fences. And so you never dissuade them from super aggressive projections. I mean, our projections at Hayneedle, we actually outdid them because, we started with we've told the story a million times, but just with hammocks. And, we grew to over 400 different varieties we called stores. So hammocks and porch swings, patio umbrellas and things like that. And, a little over 400 million in revenue in about 5 years. You know, I think that's just something that is incredibly difficult to pull off. And having the right investment team that backs you and the right senior team that manages, while everybody understands the unit economics and then also understands the importance of cash. And it was just something we went over every day.
And I'm sure you led that conversation because I know who your co-founders are, and their strengths are amazing. They're just in different places.
Yeah.
And so I have so just to give the listeners a starting point, hammocks, I think you said you bought for about $18,000 or something like that, some piddly amount. And hammocks.com in 5 years became Hayneedle, which was a sort of an aggregate of 300 plus mini sites like hammocks, Adirondack chairs, patio umbrellas, plus one big site that included all the products. And so 5 years it goes from 18,000 to 400 million. So I imagine you being the financial expert at the founding level, what are you doing to help manage that growth? Because I think we know that the surest way to failure for a business is not being able to manage your growth through your money, right? You don't know how to manage growth. And so how did you make sure you can get to 400 million and continue to survive and keep going? Like what are some of the maybe tactically, what are some of the daily things you were doing to help keep everyone on track?
Yeah, I'd like to say that was our objective too. We started not even close. I think when you have a great model and team and product and service, it gets pulled through by the customer. So we were, I think, lucky, but also had a unique way to figure out what people wanted, when they wanted it, and how to do it. I was the brakes. I was the one that would just say, we just can't afford that. And it would be like, well, what can we afford? And well, we can do this. All right, well then let's double that. We can't afford to double it, but then let's take it up by a third. And there was the yin and yang, but you got to have that in a founding team, especially startup. You got to have someone who just kind of goes, what if? Let's run a sensitivity here. So by then we had some fairly sophisticated models still on Excel spreadsheets, but where we would project out best case for a new store. How much inventory do we think we need to support that best case?